Yes, this is Action Jackson, the UK ambassador for happiness, tuning in right now, impromptu live as we go into lockdown part 3. There are teachers across the nation freaking out right now, and I just thought there was a need for me to do this impromptu live just to help us get our mental state back into the right space. Now listen, things are going to be happening. I want to hear your thoughts. Lockdown, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? I'm coming to you live from the happiness headquarters, and I just want to hear from you tonight. Comments below. What are your thoughts on the second lockdown, third lockdown? Scotland has gone into lockdown for real. England's gone into lockdown tier 5 until February. So what does this really mean for students, for teachers? What does it mean? On this live, I'm going to be talking about how to maintain your mental state of mind. Okay? I'm going to be sharing with you how you can keep your mind in check, because all of this is crazy. It is crazy. People's livelihood, people's level of motivation is dipping, but we have to stay in line with what's necessary. Let me tell you something. I named this year the year to smile and flow. The year to smile and flow, which means that whatever comes your way, you've got to smile and flow. You have to smile and flow, because if you don't smile and flow, you might just end up crying, and you don't want to be in a crying mode. No, that's not what we want. Smile and flow. That's exactly what we want. Smile and flow. So what say you put in the comments below? What are your thoughts about the third lockdown, the second lockdown? And there was a quote I heard that said, "If 2021 won't change, I will change. If 2021 won't change, I will change." My thoughts about this is this. Watch this. There are things that are going to happen to you in life. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to the things that happen to you. That's what matters the most. Your response to everything that's taking place is what is key. So we have to be very careful how we take this news. It can actually mess with our mind. See, human beings, we're very fragile to an extent. And this is why you need to look after your mind in this space. As an educator and a motivator, I have my number one duty, which is to inspire and to keep everybody in that focused state of mind. This is not to deny what is happening. No, we're not denying what's happening. But if we think about it very closely, let's think about this very, very closely. What has actually happened? We're on a lockdown. There's a reason for it. And we know what the reasons are. But our job is to make sure that we focus on the possibilities rather than the circumstance. Possibilities are, okay, here's where we are. What next? Versus circumstance. We're on a lockdown. Let's all freak out. No schools, no exams this year. So the question is, what's going to happen to the level of motivation for our kids? How are teachers going to bounce back with remote learning? How are the parents going to cope with everything that's happening? This is some of the stuff we're going to be discussing on the show tonight. And I want you to share your thoughts in the comments below, because I know that we all have a thought to share, a thought or two to share about this national lockdown. Now, as for me, here's my thoughts about this. I really believe that it's an opportunity for us to gather ourselves together and to band together. It's an opportunity for collaboration. Yes, collaboration. That's the key. Collaboration. How can we come together to support one another? How can we come together to support those who are in need in this season? It's not an easy opportunity. It's not an easy thing for parents. It's not an easy thing for people who are stressed out already. Some parents are saying, hold on, wait, who's coming to the new year? What am I going to do with all these kids? Parents are now going to have to think about alternative provision for their kids to keep them motivated through the winter months. Because remember this, before it was March into April, so people could go out and play and chill. But now those opportunities aren't there. So how do we keep our kids motivated indoors through this pandemic? Now, listen, I really believe that there is an opportunity for us to keep supporting one another. The first thing I'm going to say to you is this. It's not what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you. This is why I say smile and flow. What does smile and flow really mean? Smiling says, seek meaning in life's experiences. This is a nightmare for some, and for others is an opportunity for us to bounce back again. But some people are tired. They say, listen, I don't want to bounce back. I can't be bothered. I don't want to do this. If you look on Twitter right now, teachers are freaking out. They're freaking out about this situation. They don't know how to handle this information. Some of them have planned their whole term over the Christmas holidays, only to be told that, hey, guess what? We're going to go on a national lockdown. So how do we begin to handle these things? Remember this, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you that matters. And here are a couple of practical things that I need you to begin to do. There's a part of you that knows that this is necessary, and there's a part of you that knows that, okay, complaining isn't going to help. What you need to do is step back and begin to focus on the part of you that knows that there is an opportunity in this. And the opportunity is this, the opportunity for us to come back together and collaborate together and work together. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. We're going through this again. This time we have to be smarter. We have to be careful about a couple of things. Number one, what are you watching in this season? Okay, what are you watching? Your eyes are the windows to your brain. What you watch can affect how you think. And if you don't guard your eyes, you don't guard your brain. And this is my thing about this. I'm a big believer in positive thinking, okay? Not to deny what's happening, but to say, hey, listen, we need to come together and be careful what we're watching. That's the first thing. Number two, you need to be very careful with what you are listening to. You have to be very careful because words have power and words have a way of affecting our thought pattern. This is so important for us to know this. The words you hear can affect your thoughts. Now, human beings, we either live from memory or we live from imagination. Those are two places you can live from, memory or imagination. Let me break it down for you. If you live from memory, here's what you're doing. You remember how something was, and your brain references that thing, and it gives you an information on what to do next. Okay, previous lockdown, here we go again, blah, 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 blah. Versus, you know what? Let me project my imagination to the future and say, how else can I make the most of this situation? Because if there's one thing I know with life is this, life will present you with all sorts. Life will present you with all sorts. And we are responsible to make sure that whatever life presents us with, we bounce back differently. We must bounce back differently. And that is based on what you watch and what you listen to. And thirdly, the third thing is this, what are you saying in this time? What are you saying in this time? Listen, I am so grateful that we're not in World War One, okay? We're not in World War One, not in World War II, because things were different then. We have technology to support us. We still do have people around us, okay? Although there's a lockdown physically, mentally, we have to set ourselves free. And what sets us free is our mind, our words as well. What you watch, what you hear, and what you say. Watch what you watch, watch what you hear, and watch what you say in this season. This is a season that's going to stretch a lot of people. Let me tell you why. Many people are coming into the new year with this expectation that everything's going to be okay. Okay, it's a new start. But before the year was over, I kept saying to people, it's not just about waiting for a happy new year. It's about creating a happy new you. And happy new you means that you're saying to yourself, no matter what comes my way, I'm going to smile and flow. I'm going to smile and flow regardless of what comes my way. And this is how we've got to begin to handle this. Now, if you're watching this right now, there are a couple of people that are going to need your help. Parents are going to need your help. Teachers are going to need your help. The young people are going to need your help. When I say need your help, it could just be a simple moral support. A simple moral support, a message out to teachers to say, hey, listen, let me tell you this. Teachers are having to now deal with remote learning all over again. The kids hated remote learning. They did not like remote learning. So how are they going to bounce back? How are they going to deal with all of this? All of this is some of the things that we need to begin to be aware of. The other thing also is this, mental health. There was a young person that messaged me on Instagram, and the young person said, oh, here we go again. I can see my mental health on a decline already. So guess what? Because of the previous lockdown, she said to herself, well, she remembered what she went through in the previous lockdown, and now this is affecting her now. So we have to be on a guard to begin to support our young people. We have to support our young people. They need us in this season. Our young people need us in this season. People, our parents, our teachers need us in this season. I say that because that's the people that I am most passionate about. That's the industry that I'm working with. That's the industry I'm working with in. Now, I've got a few friends of mine. Listen, all I have to do is blow the whistle and they're in there ready to support, because I really want to help us handle this next phase. You know, so I've got David who's going to be joining me in a moment. And David is a mindset coach, and he runs an organization all about mindset. And I would like to get his thoughts, his views, and his feeling. David in the last couple of months has been to hell and back. So I'm sure he has a thing or two to share with us about what it's like to handle adversity. David, welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing, mate?
Good. I responded as quickly as I could to your call to get on and talk about the school closing and indeed the exams not happening, which is a huge blow to so many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just caught the end of what you were saying there.
Well, here's the thing, David. I mean, not just for schools, not just for teachers, not just for parents, but for students, but for everybody. They're saying, what is going on? What is going on? Because many people, I mean, it's day 4 of the new year. People were semi-optimistic, but now they're saying another lockdown. How do we deal with this? Listen, the reason I'm doing this is this. UK Ambassador for Happiness. I'm not going to sit by and allow people's emotions to just go down the drain. Let's talk about how we can help make this happen for people.
Well, I mean, like you said, the first Monday of a brand new year is always the time when people go to bed on a Sunday, they get up and they've got a really renewed sense of purpose. They're waiting to get started on everything that they've hoped and dreamed to achieve in a whole new year. And yeah, we always say, don't try and change yourself too much in a year. Don't put that pressure on yourself to achieve too much in the first week of a brand new year. Just continue doing what you're doing. And realistically, we've been through some of this kind of thing before. The difference is we're doing it in a month that is the darkest and actually the most depressing month of the year. It's the hardest month for us to find ourselves the energy to get up and go, because really it's not like the last one. We've got less light and less time in the day to achieve that exercise. I would like what I've been doing, just based on my past year and everything that I've overcome. I've always just come back to the small, consistent, non-negotiables in every day. And if you know that you've got 4 or 5 things that, regardless what happens, whether you're the busiest person in the world or whether you've got nothing planned that day, you're going to do 4 or 5 things. Whether that's get up and have a good breakfast, shower, walk briskly for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then maybe do some additional exercise and call a friend.
But David, though, listen, I'm done. You know, people are saying I'm done. I can't really handle this. You know, we've lost incomes. We've lost family members. It's just too much. How do individuals cope under the weight of not just the physical weight, but the mental weight of this? I mean, the stuff you're saying makes a lot of sense, you know, but going for a walk, going for a run, it's cold outside. Only a small percentage of people are going to go and do it. How do people who can't cope in this seasonal affective disorder, you know, how do they handle this?
It's so tough, Jackson. And I say all these things because I'm reminding myself about them as well. I find it really hard. I don't like people that promote something that they think that they've cracked it. I haven't got a golden book, and neither do you. I struggle. I struggle today. Where I am living right now, it was raining all day. There was no let up. It was raining, wet, dark, cold. It was horrible. So I didn't go out. And yet, by the time we got to 8 o'clock in the evening, I was really at peak. What, you know, that kind of, what is the point? You know, I've booked work today that's been cancelled today. Like, so, and that's for the month of January. So I already know, and I've experienced the effects of loss of income. And it's really difficult because people's version of like struggling financially is different, and mine has changed various times throughout the year. So I don't really want to comment on that, because I'm not speaking from somebody who's financially secure, and I'm not speaking from somebody who's on, you know, the breadline. So different people, different strokes for different folks. But, you know, I have had the same feeling throughout today, i.e. it's a feeling of I'm going to achieve something. I'm on the road to doing something great. I actually, I feel great. And then, okay, what now? And it's that what now drop off the side. We all really struggle to kind of identify within ourselves. If you can just go, I'm putting way too much pressure on myself, I'm having a little bit of a down moment, click the kettle, do what you need to do, and just sit and be. And just
I love it, David.
Be aware of it.
Do you know what's so beautiful? And I think this is one of the things that I had to be very careful of, because we were so goal driven. Everybody go get, go get, go get. It's like, okay, what do I go get now? And like you just said, you know what? If all you can do right now as you're watching this is to go and make yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and just sit and don't try and answer any question that your head is throwing at you right now, because it can overload the brain. Just sit. This is why, David, this year, my slogan, my intention for this year is just smile and flow. Smile and flow.
Yeah.
Because while you're smiling and flowing, you're in a relaxed mode. Because your brain, if you overload it, it can shut. By smiling and flowing, solutions will come to you and things aren't as bad. Okay, so here's my thoughts on this whole thing. I think not that we're blowing things out of proportion. Would you say we're blowing things out of proportion in terms of some of our reaction? Not some of our reactions are valid. But would you say some people are, because I've seen on the Twitter feed, freaking out, would you say there are some people that are going to be overreacting? There's underreacting, there's reacting, and there's overreacting. Talk to us a bit about that.
There's the thing is as well is that it's very difficult when you get on, especially when you get on the news train on a day like today, where people will now just watch the news that has been broadcast, and they'll watch it repeat and loop itself for a couple of hours, because realistically, again, it comes back to people go, okay, but what now? I don't know what to do. And it's in that moment where we find ourselves getting to the point where we start to feel the fear, and we overreact. So it's one of those anxiety kind of feelings, in a sense that you might have a symptom of something and then you escalate it for no apparent reason inside your head to something life-threatening. Now, I know that this virus is life-threatening, but when you have a random sneeze in the day, you shouldn't escalate it to the point that you've got coronavirus. Similarly, when you have a negative thought, or you're feeling that you're consuming negative information in your diet, like whether it's online through scrolling on social media, or whether it's in the news on the telly, it's literally harder to escape the news nowadays than it is to actually go looking for something. So and the thing is, the news corporations control what we see, and they're controlling that we see this, because if you're scared, you won't leave your house, and that's good for politics.
Exactly.
So the thing that we need to all be a little bit aware of is being aware of yourself when you start to escalate things higher than is actually real.
Okay. The exaggeration point. So you're talking about the exaggeration point, because a lot of us have that in our lives, where the brain tends to overreact. It goes into another space of just, creating a drama, a trilogy. So what we're saying is things aren't as bad as the brain makes it out to be. And in this season, what we're trying to say, if you're watching right now, you're tuned into this Impromptu Live. We've just heard about another lockdown. Everyone's freaking out. But what we're trying to say is this: let's focus on how we can keep our mental state in a right balanced space. And one of the things you shouldn't do, which a lot of people did, was to get obsessed with what's happening on Sky News, CNN, on that same repeat. Talk to us about what we should be doing alternatively, because I think, you know, social media is now the go-to now. Right, cool. I'm just going to go on binge, dive into that world. And a lot of us use that as a form of escape. What is it, do you think, we're trying to run from when we're using these things to medicate?
I think what you're trying to do when you look into a big, you know, hole of breaking news, you're trying to find something that is the light, something that is going to give you purpose. And there is or a reason for you to keep looking. And that's the thing. They'll keep looping the news so that you come back in hoping that the outcome's going to be different. Because when we are shocked with something, whether it's, you know, a fall or anything in our lives, like we don't respond well to, we'll kind of go into a little bit of shock where we'll just try and process it. And sometimes the brain isn't able to process everything as quickly as we allow it to, because we're constantly shoving more information about the same thing in. So if we sit with the news, I mean, I like many consume the news, the 30 minutes that it was on, and then I find myself lucky because I can stand up, walk away, and talk to somebody about it. If you live on your own, it's probably a little bit harder. Maybe you need to like get that person to discuss it with, and then they have to be willing to discuss it, because sometimes people turn around and say, I don't want to talk about it. And that's kind of not helpful for somebody who needs to talk about it, because we're all about talking. Certainly you and I, like as soon as you talk about it and you dive deep into something and you understand it, because you've vocalized it out loud, then you can kind of let your brain translate it and sit with the feeling of what has just happened. When you get to a point where you find yourself in a loop, it's always easy to just ignore the awareness that your brain gives you, because you will always have that moment where you say, I'm scrolling, or I'm not watching this Netflix, or I'm not actually even paying attention to this, or I'm reading a book and I'm not even looking at the words. That's when you need to jolt yourself out of it, and beginning to find ways to do that is really important. We have one of those smart speakers in our house where you can shout commands at it, and every now and then it gets a little bit quiet or the tension becomes a little bit crazy, one of us just has to say, hey Alexa, hey Google, okay Google, whatever, just play a song, and that song will naturally make us want to dance or sing or move. And just even in the space that is a small square meter kitchen, we can just break away from what we're currently overwhelmed with. Netflix have released a series with Headspace as well. So if you go find it, it's not just meditation. You can actually watch it as well on the platform that you're so used to scrolling through. If you've never heard of meditation, it's a really good way to just kind of break away from reality. And it's very transfixing, and it's in a positive way as well, because it makes you look. I think those are kind of real good points.
Practical, break it. But I think, do you know what? I don't want to go too deep, but I do think that there is a shift in humanity. There is a shift in technology, education. There is a big, massive shift. And whenever we come out of our comfort zone, we yearn to go back to the old. But what I am now sensing is there's going to be a shift in industries. And this is the shift. And we have to be ready for it. Not that the shift is going to be that we're all going to be locked in our homes, but there's going to be a different way of doing things. How do we begin to handle change? Because some people don't handle change well. For me,
I mean, first of all, if anybody's waiting for things to get back to normal, the normal that you're trying to get back to is almost a year old. So it's time to stop that and start getting used to your new normal, and then that will change. Because the only thing that we know for sure that is a constant in our life is change. Everything will change. The way you look on a daily basis through lockdown, people know when you can't go and prune yourself, your hair grows, you don't have to pay attention. It all changes. And then when you get it peeled back, it changes. That's the most obvious thing that we can see every day in the mirror. We change every day with every piece of information that we we develop in ourselves, the things that we learn, the things that we pay attention to. So if that's negative, of course, you're going to change in a negative way. So that's important to really just be aware of, that change is constant. Change is always going to be happening. People and things around you are always going to change. It's just whether or not you want to get on and ride that wave, and hopefully maybe potentially find yourself in a position where you can adapt well to that change and become a better version of yourself, or whether you're going to resist it, in which case you won't really get very far and you'll find yourself struggling with what's going on all the time, because it's a constant.
Yeah, that is so true. Listen, if you're just watching this, we wanted to just really kind of just come on impromptu to just encourage you. If you're a teacher watching, you're a parent watching, you're a student watching, we're just trying to say, listen, it's going to be okay. It's what, 6 weeks lockdown. I was just, you know, when I just said that, it's just like the equivalent to summer holidays.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, is that this is the third time, or it's certainly the second time, but the third time, because I don't know about you, but I, you know, in the first time around, I'm a naturally a forward-thinking person. I'm proactive. I had all these plans that I wanted to achieve in 2020. So I was going to do what I could to get those achieved in the best way possible. And yeah, the plan changed, but I still achieved something, and I still focused. This year, I haven't even sat down and done what I hoped to get out of this year, and I've
excited.
That's not happening. So it is, you know, this COVID fatigue, this lockdown fatigue. Allow yourself to feel it. Everybody is feeling it. Yeah. I was just not long before you text to say let's come on, and I was thinking, in this next 6 weeks, have I got it in me to sit down, focus, and achieve something? And I know I do, but at the time I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the news, and I thought, I just don't have it in me. I'm knackered. I'm tired. I just want to book a job. I want to fill the diary, and I want to do that. That'd be really great. But that's unfortunately not the way things are happening, and it's so exhausting.
So here's the thing, man. There's one thing I'm learning about life, is that we are human beings, not human doings. And a lot of us seek our identity from doing that we just, I was just playing with Olivia a couple of hours ago, and, you know, there's a part of you that's like, all right, well, that's enough now. I'll go off and do some more work, some other work. But I'm like, what, to her, it's not enough. She's just like being. She's not worried. She'll play with the cable. She'll play with the plants. She'll play with it. And she's just being rather than trying to do. Do you think that we've become a generation of super doers, that we've now become so obsessed with that it's now defining us, that us just having, some people tell me, if I have a day off, I feel guilty. I've got to do something. Do you think that doing has become a trap to some of us, that we can't just keep still for a second to just get the right message, to actually be able to move in the right direction?
Absolutely. And the thing is, as well, is we're all guilty of admitting to being a human doer and not actually addressing the times when we're just being. Yeah. Because, you know, being isn't something that you can record, you can document. It just happens in the middle of everything else that you plan. So there's a saying that goes, what is it? I hate when this happens when you're live on something. Life is what happens when you're, what is it? Life is what happens when you're making other plans. Wow. So when we're making plans, the bit in the middle, this bit right now, when we're not planning anything, we're just having a talk.
We're in the flow.
This is life. Yeah. Everything we've done before this has brought us to this point, and everything we do now will bring us to the next point. You know, we're the type of people that, you know, talk ourselves into great positions. But yes, we are so victim to the doers out there, because we document our doing and other people document their doing. And then what happens when we see people doing? We feel guilty that we're not doing because other people doing. So it is really important. Again, just tune into what it is that you are consuming for yourself and whether or not it is productive. There's a procrastination theory that we tend to actually spend our days where we have free time giving ourselves a hard time on the things that we should have done, rather than spending free time doing things we want to do. Wow. And the likelihood is that if you had free time tomorrow and you wanted to do something, it would probably tick off a few things on your to-do list if you had one, because you do what you like doing, and you do what you want to do, but it's about changing the narrative behind it and going, I have a free day off at the end of the week, and on that day I'm not going to plan anything, but I have an idea of what I would like to do.
Yeah.
And when it gets to that day, you just get up and you go and do what you want to do. And the likelihood is, in order to do what you want to do, you have to do a few things that you would need to do if you wrote them down.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Listen, if you're watching right now, where you're watching from, we're just discussing how we're going to be handling ourselves in the next 6 weeks. For those of us who are going to be locked down at home, you know, I really do believe it's not just about doing in this next 6 weeks, it's about being, just being. And, you know, when you're being, there's one thing, yes, be mankind. Exactly, exactly. Because in the space of being, something magical happens. Things just evolve, things pop up, but we don't want to be trapped in doing. So I don't want anyone watching right now to pressure yourself in having to achieve a particular goal, because there's already enough for the brain to deal with. I just need you to be in the season. Silence is the best language, okay, that can bring about life. Silence is beautiful, but some people can't handle silence. It's a difficult. Let's try it right now. Let's try. Just shh. Beautiful.
It's interesting because when you, like, as a coach, one of the biggest things that you find when you're with somebody who's struggling to, like, unpack some things in their head, and we all have these ideas, and sometimes what happens is that you've got this big box of ideas or this big box of thoughts, and it's like a bucket of cables that are all tied together. And whilst we talk out loud, we manage to untangle them and tie them up and make them all pretty and neat. And in that moment, while somebody is doing that in a coaching session where you're just unpacking it and letting them and coaxing people and going, what, you know, tell me more about that, tell me more about this. When you don't respond to them not talking, so when somebody comes to a natural end of their initial sentence, and you don't initially respond with a question, and people can do this in social circles. When someone stops talking, don't begin talking to fill the silence. Just wait and see what happens. Because the most magical thing happens in conversation when the silence ensues, because it just gives people in that circle, and certainly in a coaching client space, gives those two people just time to be and absorb what's happened. And it's been not being afraid of the silence, because we are afraid of it. We, a lot of the time, we don't listen to hear people. We listen to respond.
Yeah, and we're trying to fill the gap. We're trying to fill the gap. If you just joined us, we're just talking about how to deal with this next lockdown and the thoughts behind, you know, how we're handling it. And there's a soundtrack that I normally put on, and it's such a beautiful soundtrack because I think when you're in that still space, you know, it's said that if there's a lion in a cage, it's not the bars in the cage that keeps the lion in there. It's the gap between the bars that keeps it in the cage, because it looks and it says, well, I can't get through that gap, so I'm stuck in here. And the other thing that says, it's not the notes that makes the music, it's the silence between the notes that makes the music, the intervals. And I think if we can just enjoy the bits in between, the stillness, and not to be rushing, that's where beauty is. And you find that many of us will begin to get ideas and thoughts that says, actually, you don't need to go there anymore. You can go here, because the hair is going to make you more happy. Story of the fish that was looking for the ocean, says to the big daddy fish, can you direct me to the ocean, please? And the man's like, why do you need the ocean? You're in the water already. But I want the ocean. I want the ocean now. It's like, but you're already in water, but I want the ocean. So it's going to destroy himself in this moment, looking for something that you already have. See, sometimes we're chasing the wrong goals, the wrong intentions. What are you chasing in this season of your life? And do you need to be still and be centered? This is the gift called life. It's been amazing. David, thank you so much for being Batman. I literally messaged him like, David, jump on live now. He's like, okay, I'm just going to put my jumpers on and my willy hat.
I was already dressed like this, so that's good. I just needed to come to somewhere where I could get light and a Wi-Fi.
Oh, man. Listen, it's been amazing. I'm sure, well, we're going to be talking about some of the things we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks in terms of just supporting the community of young people to get through all this madness, because there's a need for it. So stay tuned.
From you know, how some teachers and how some students are reacting to the idea that there's no exams. Like, what is that doing to people? You know, some people might be freed up by it, some people might be brought down by it. Everybody has their own different version of what is, you know,
very
ideal.
true. So, very true.
It'll be good to, over the next couple of weeks, kind of get close to that.
Well, it's about, you know, we're not just preparing for exams, we're trying to prepare for life. An exam is just one of the pathways. So we don't stop preparing. We keep on preparing, because we're preparing for something bigger, because there's still going to be some level of assessment that's going to take place. So they're gonna learn, they're gonna come back, they're gonna be assessed, they're gonna be marked. But it's gonna be all fair. But it is what it is. David, thank you so much for coming on. God bless you for being you, and stay amazing, mate.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Wow, this is that's been David. We're just talking about this year, dealing with everything, and there is something about positive mental attitude. There is something about it. We must maintain it. We must maintain it. At the beginning of the year, I wrote a song, like a quick quote, and I just want to finish with it, because I know many people are going to be going through all sorts. Still your year. And I said smile and flow, because this is a time for you to smile and flow. Yeah? It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah, I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. Smile and flow. Yeah. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my year. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. Whatever you do, whatever comes your way, keep smiling, keep flowing. I know the negativity will come your way. I know. But you gotta hold on tight. You gotta have that belief. And I'm so grateful that you're still alive and well. Stay focused, stay positive. This is still your year. No matter what comes our way, we can make it. We will get through this together. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. It's my time. I'm gonna smile and flow. Yeah. Whatever you do, please smile and flow. For any teachers watching or any parents watching, I put a link on this video right now For anyone that needs resources, do go and visit the page. You could get access on how to motivate your students to kind of keep you inspired. My name's Action Jackson. I live on Twitter at Action Jackson, YouTube Action Jackson Live, Instagram Action Jackson Live. Whatever you do, stay positive. This is your time. You're going to smile and flow. Take care. God bless you. And thank you for tuning in.